Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, and we're going to get started here with our pre-market analysis on the S&P 500 futures market. I think we should really quickly just review what happened here yesterday. It was pretty sideways and nasty there. So I believe we came into the morning and we said um, ideally, what we need to do is break up above 47. I believe it was 79. Let me refresh my memory here. Sorry, I should be more prepared, but I think we said if we can get up above 79, some of our key levels, then we would be buyers expecting the breakout of the overnight high, or at least a test of the overnight high, because we never really know what's actually going to happen next, right? So that was kind of the game plan. They did push up above our lines in the sand. We took the market long. I got my first position off, and then it came back and sold off, and then it just kind of was a little messy in there by the time we were done with our session. What ended up happening was, and it's kind of interesting, we have our zones, and we talked about this, I believe, yesterday, and we have these areas that we shade below us as areas that we expect there to be some type of reaction in the market. And the 30-minute actually had the sell that we were looking at, and I don't know if it's still in there. So this little trade zone, I guess we could call it here, from about 47.4650 to 47.4750, that little 1 point range was something we were watching on the charts. And sure enough, yesterday, as we were selling off and we became sellers, we came right down to the top of that little trade zone and bounced right out of it. And that was the low of the day, literally to the tick, the top end of that shaded zone that we were watching. So it was just kind of interesting. It came down, bounced out of there. And then we got a pretty good trend going into the close and through the overnight session here. So that's what kind of brings us into this morning, is this what looks to be an ambitious bullish push here to push to new all-time highs. We already broke the all-time high from just a few days ago, just in front of 4,800, and we do have the new all-time high in. And as you can see, they're attempting here. We've been pushing, making new highs. We have not made new lows, and so things are looking strong. Let's go ahead and jump up to the high time frames. Like I said, we're not going to spend a lot of time up there. Just want to quickly kind of jump through it, right? So quarterly or 3-month chart looking strong, no signs of exhaustion. Monthly also looking very strong. Weekly also looking very strong. Daily, we talked about the bullish divergence on the pullback, and that's kind of what gave us a little bit more of a bullish argument going into yesterday, was the fact our daily and our 4-hour gave a bullish signal, but then, on the opposite side of it, we didn't have a daily and a 4-hour bearish signal. So they were kind of weighing to the upside. We did get the pullback, but eventually yesterday, remember, we did launch with a nice bullish push and actually push to higher highs. So we did get the follow through that we expected. However, we had to be prepared for that pullback and that test of the low where we saw the divergence yesterday morning. So that came down, came out. We got the nice bullish signal on the daily. Again, we have the potential for that bearish signal off the highs, but remember, we see that in these pushes. And with the bullish signal off the lows, because we are in what looks to be somewhat of a trend here, we want to rely more on the pullback signals rather than the reversal signals. And so again, we have a bullish signal off the pullback, so it makes a little bit more sense to kind of rely on that, and the fact that the bearish signals from the highs are now negated because we've actually pushed and broke through them. So daily looking strong as well with a nice bullish divergence. And then our 4-hour here, you can see we finally broke out from the previous range that we were stuck in, and really no signs of exhaustion on this 4-hour chart. So everything on the high time frames looks strong. Of course, anything's possible. We could pull back, but everything up there looks strong. And on our 60-minute as well, looking pretty strong here coming in. Now we do have a bearish signal off the overnight high on the 60-minute. I don't see it on the 4-hour, so it's just on the 60-minute. So that tells me probably not going to have a lot of follow through from there, but we do have that. So all the high time frames are essentially showing a pretty strong market, and the 60-minute has a little bearish signal from the overnight high. Remember, once we break through there, that will be negated. And again, in a bullish market, you want to be looking at the pullbacks and the signals off the lows rather than the reversal signals, because typically they don't get as much follow through as the direction of the trend. So let's go down to the intermediate time frames. Like I said, we're going to be pretty quick with the really high time frames because we spend a lot of time at the beginning of the week kind of scrutinizing that weekly, that monthly, and that three month. And if you want to kind of see what they're saying, just go back to Monday's pre-market session. So let's look at the intermediate time frames here. Probably not going to add to the story very much. But let's see, we do have the agreement with the bearish signal off the overnight high. Once we did pull back from there, we did get the counter signal here on the 30-minute. That did lead to another 10-point bounce up back to test that high. So we'll see if we get this follow through now. We do have, again, a decent bullish signal from that pullback. And I think on the 10-minute as well, a decent bullish signal after that pullback as well. So this morning, what we're going to do is, we're going to jump into our member section and we're going to start talking about some specific scenarios that we want to look at and some specific levels. But the general idea here that we're getting from the charts is that things look pretty strong and we're expecting a continued push higher. That's the expectation. It's kind of what is in the cards. Doesn't mean it has to happen. And that might mean if we're expecting higher, we could get some type of pullback for a bounce higher. That's one scenario. Another scenario is they just start pushing, kind of like yesterday. We just push out of here and play up top in this new all-time high area up top. Another scenario is it goes against all our expectations for higher and they sell this sucker back down. And once we break through these levels, remember this was the first level, this little shaded area from yesterday. That was our first area of expected support. Now that we've used that, it might make sense that if they come back down now, they're going to come down into some of these deeper shaded areas and levels that we have marked here. So I'll leave that there for this morning, and we're going to jump to our member section and get into trade zones, trade scenarios, and good levels to find some trades this morning. So have a great rest of your day to everyone out there watching on YouTube and everywhere else, and we'll see you tomorrow.